So this is our financial independence designing a business pack. And this was created by designer and illustrator Erin Annika in collaboration with a group of students from St Mary Magdalene School. This pack has the highest suggested age attached to it. The only reason for this is that it discusses financial independence in detail and offers practical advice on being a small business owner. While younger children may have very clear ideas on this, we find that it's especially interesting to young people who may be starting to think about having their own money and career. So here, this question, what does it mean to have financial independence? This group discussion also has a suggested definition, but it's worth being mindful of the existence of barriers to financial independence for some women and girls related to family, community, social factors, and just watch out for discussions remaining respectful within your group. Conversations around money can also be triggering for young people who might be experiencing financial insecurity at home, so that's something else to watch out for. Young people also might already have access to their own income, and they might use this as a moment to tell you, but it's obviously really important to ask how they're achieving this and to watch out for things like child exploitation and, of course, following safeguarding procedures should anything emerge. So the clip which provides context for the pack is from the absolutely incredible Verna Eggleston from Bloomberg. In this impassioned speech, she explains about the importance of women having control of money. She's a really passionate speaker and someone who's absolutely interesting to look up to in the context of the work she does, if you have time. An adaptation for the discussion after this clip is financial independence something that people of any gender can achieve, or is it harder for some people than others? The context of the pack is that one way of gaining financial independence is to set up your own business, and comes from a very authentic place from the artist Erin. The core activities of this pack are around designing a small business which centres around something you care about, thinking about every aspect of a business and how it can be rooted in your values as a person and the change you'd like to see in the world. There's also a bigger question in here about what success means to you, as it's important to understand that we're not all necessarily going to take the same path or the path that others want for us, that the journey may be long and winding and that it's okay. This jargon-busting slide really gets into the detail of small business development, including some practical things such as registering a business. For context, in the UK, you need to be 18 to register as a business, but you can set up a limited company or be self-employed from 16, and you can work from 13, just not as a small business or sole trader. But do please, be curious about what your young people are interested in, and do keep looking things up to support them with their brand new businesses. There's also a lot of signposting at the end of the pack should a young person decide they'd like to set up a business. This activity involves mission, concept and purpose. Please, please, please encourage the young people to be as bold as possible. Some of them might have ideas for a small business or a side hustle, but for those that don't, encourage them to go big. Focus on a really, really big thing that needs a solution and give them the opportunity to dream it up. If your young people are struggling to think of something new, you can encourage them to research and maybe even rebrand something or an aspect of something that already exists. Again, thinking about visuals may benefit from looking at examples. So even on this slide, there's actually several things interplaying with each other, several different brands. So we have the WOW brand, we have the WOW Girls Festival brand, and we have Erin's brand. So even just from the slides, we can start to really think about what visuals mean. Then we invite young people to design a logo, and this can be adapted depending on the setting and the young people. It could be a really creative, artistic activity, or it could be more process-led. Whether or not the young people are creative and want to make art, focus on the thoughts, the ideas, the process, and the dreaming. Ultimately, they can design the brief they'd like to give to a designer, even if they themselves can't design the thing. We really want it to be inclusive, and a lot of young people don't identify with being artistic. That doesn't mean that they can't be creative. And then this reflection activity explores the idea of being successful and being a future mentor for others. and introduces this idea of people uplifting one another through mentoring. And as I mentioned, the last slide has lots of signposting to the way that young people may start their own business. I'm going to hand over to Marie to give us some suggested adaptations.
So thanks, Kat. As you highlighted, this session has the opportunity to be highly creative and to lead to the production of a lot of different outputs. So any stage of design, we'd encourage you to consider alternative creative outlets to maximize that engagement with the young people you're working with. So an example of that might be the design task could all be completed via collage and mixed media, or could be digitally designed using a tablet or computers, or adapted to be verbal or audio. It could even be adapted to have some practical applications in your settings. For example, perhaps as a campaign you could run in your setting, such as a charity fundraiser, to make it feel really tangible for the participants.
Thank you, Marie. That wraps up our walkthrough of the Financial Independence Activity Pack, and we hope that it sparks creativity and great discussions in your settings.